We are continuing our position-by-position breakdown coverage of the current Vikings roster. And as always, Ben Leber, Vikings analyst, is here to give his thoughts on the current Vikings roster for the upcoming season. Ben, the next position up is the wide receiver position group. And other than Adam Thielen, this is a wide open competition.
Dude, I'm so excited. I was looking at the roster breakdown of wide receiver, and kind of like quarterbacks, I'm like, okay, we know who's going to be one. We probably know who's going to be two with Justin Jefferson. And then I start looking, I'm like, oh, damn, like that guy could move up. This guy can move up. Oh, don't forget about this guy. Like all of a sudden now, this is going to be a really, really fun position group to watch as they battle out in training camp. And again, we know that Thielen is the guy, and we know everything that comes with Adam Thielen. We're super excited to see Justin Jefferson in purple. But you get down into who are the 3, 4, 5, potentially 6 wide receivers? Like, who are the guys going to be there? It is wide open, and there is a ton of really good athletes in there.
Who do you think needs to step up in year 2? You got guys like B.C. Johnson. That's just one name that really stands out to me. A guy that made plays in his rookie season, and then you got Chad Beebe, who's going on his 3rd year. Guys that have made plays in their career. But who do you think needs to step up in year 2?
Man, you know what? I think Tajay Sharp has to step up.
Tannehill darts it back in the end zone. Touchdown, Tajay Sharp.
He needs to come in and prove that he's not just some possession receiver. He's not just a guy that's going to get 2 or 3 targets a game and, potentially break out every once in a while.
Going to take a shot. Throwing end zone. He's got his man. Touchdown, Tennessee. It's Tajay Sharp.
You look at how young this position group is. You can't leave it all in Adam Thielen to be the guy that's going to lead these guys on Sunday production-wise, and then be the only leader in that wide receiver room when it comes to the whole week of preparation. If Tajay Sharp, let's just say that he's not on the team, you got a really, really young wide receiver core. So I think that he's got to step up in training camp and show that, hey, man, I can be the veteran presence. I can be a guy that you can count on as a solid number 3 receiver. He's got to break out. He can't afford himself as a young player to be pigeonholed and stuck into a corner and realize, oh, you're just kind of this cute little possession receiver over here. He's got to elevate his game and prove that, hey, man, I know that you guys drafted this shiny new toy out of LSU, but I want to be wide receiver number 2, and I hope that he takes that approach.
Out of the 12 receivers on the Vikings roster as of today, only 4 of those guys have played in at least 5 games last season alone. How important do you think is it for Justin Jefferson to make an immediate impact?
It's big, man. He's got a lot of weight on his shoulders, and I don't want him to go out there and feel that pressure, so to speak, and feel like he's really got to be this immediate impact player. But the reality is, he does.
Going up top toward the end zone. Jefferson is there, makes another catch.
The slant, the catch, and the touchdown for Justin Jefferson.
There's going to be a lot of comparisons between he and Stefon Diggs, whether it's fair or unfair. That's just the nature of the football news. That's the nature of the fans. They're always and forever going to associate Stefon Diggs with Justin Jefferson. And hopefully he can handle that. Hopefully he breaks out of that shadow and that comparison and those shoes and that hole that was left. And he has a fantastic year. We talked a few days ago about Kirk. What makes Kirk great? When he has weapons and he feels like his offense is balanced. When he doesn't have to force the ball into one receiver or one primary guy. He needs multiple tight ends. He needs multiple receivers. He needs backs out of the backfield that can catch. And so it's going to take guys like Justin Jefferson to come in on day one and be the guy.
I was doing some research this morning, and I found out, three out of the last 4 seasons, the Vikings have had 2 receivers with at least 800 receiving yards each. Of course, that was Adam Thielen and Stefon Diggs. So you look at that other 800 yards because Adam's going to be Adam, right? But you look at those other 800, plus yards. Like, do you split those? How do you split those yards up? I mean, who do you expect to, say like, hey, I'm going to take this role on of being that, B receiver?
Well, it seems like right now, if you look at the historical perspective the last few years, when Adam's healthy, he's getting about 30 to 31% of the production. When he's out, Stefon takes over 30 to 31% of the production. So somebody's going to have to pick up that other 70%. And I'm not saying it's going to be one guy. It's not even one position group. And I'll go back to what I had mentioned earlier. This offense functions the best when the defense doesn't have an idea where the ball's going to be thrown. As a former defensive player, when we were playing against a team that was loaded with weapons, you look at a couple years ago with Atlanta and Matt Ryan. They marched their way all the way to the Super Bowl and should have won the Super Bowl. But as they go into that game, everybody's like, how do you defend these two guys out of the backfield? How do you defend these receivers? How do you defend these tight ends? This offense, in which that was a Kyle Shanahan run offense, this offense is best when everything is distributed. Ball distribution is going to be key. And so, yeah, it's going to have to be Justin Jefferson. It's going to have to be the wide receivers. It's going to have to be BC, Tajay, Chad Beebe, KJ Osborne. I don't know who it's going to be, but the tight end's got to step up. We got to get some backs out of the backfield catching balls as well. So that's how you take over and how you make up for the loss of production in some places.
Off camera, we were talking about Courtney Davis, who just named a lot of guys on this roster that could possibly make plays, but a lot of people aren't talking about Courtney Davis. You like this guy a lot.
I like this guy a lot, man. And I will say this. KJ Osborne, I mentioned him a second ago. You watch the film of him at Miami. It was just the 1 year at Miami. He started in Buffalo, played 4 years there, goes to Miami. Not quite as productive. You can maybe blame that on offense. You can blame that on quarterback. But this guy's a baller too, man. Like he's a return guy. We think that he's going to be the punt returner number one. But he runs out the slot. I love the way he's built. He's hard to tackle. He's very strong lower body wise, and he's a good hands catcher. Then you go down the list, and all of a sudden now Courtney Davis out of Texas A&M is on the bottom of this list. Like, what are you talking about?
Mon over the middle, complete. Touchdown, Courtney Davis. 21-yard strike.
This is going to be a really competitive battle because Courtney, 2 years ago, outstanding outside receiver. Last year, because of the talent that came in, they moved him to inside receiver, the slot position. Much like what happened to Justin Jefferson. Justin's got position flexibility where he can be an X and a Z. He can also play in the slot. Well, Courtney can do the same thing. Hugely productive. Played in a pro-style scheme down there with Jimbo Fisher. He understands defenses. You watch how he runs his routes, and he's able to read the defenses already and adjust his routes and put himself in the best position to make plays. He looks pro-ready already just from his college tape, and he's buried at the bottom of this depth chart before the season even starts. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a guy like Courtney Davis make some major leaps once training camp starts.
I'm going to have you put your coaching hat on. You're Andrew Janocko. You just moved from assistant offensive line coach to wide receiver coach. You see all this talent in the room. What's your first meeting like with them?
I don't know. I would probably approach it like he's approached other positions and other coaches have approached other positions in that, hey man, you've got to battle it out every day. This is as open of a competition as we probably have on the whole team. And I think you have to be honest with these guys and say, I'm gonna support you. I'm gonna be here to give you everything that you need to be a better player. But I'm gonna do the same thing for the guy behind you, and I'm gonna do the same thing for the guy sitting next to you. And you have to be ready and willing to come in and battle every single day. Every rep is going to be looked at. Every rep is going to be broken down, which is not unusual for any other position group. But these guys have to know that this is an open competition, that they are being evaluated, and hopefully that pressure and that competition and those daily challenges are going to elevate this room to be one of the best in the division, if not the league.
I think it's safe to say we see a star emerge from this group this upcoming season. Ben, thank you as always. Vikings fans, make sure you stay tuned right here to Vikings.com for more position-by-position breakdown coverage.